Alright, let's get down to the nitty fucking gritty. Instantly demonetized, by the way. If you're a long-time subscriber on this channel, you know I've been predicting this from the very beginning. The Titan class has always had a fundamental problem, a big one too, which was always mind-boggling to me that Bungie never really addressed it. It is so obvious, yet nothing has been done about it. Now that Prismatic is a thing, it just further exacerbated and accentuated a problem that's existed since Destiny 1. The power fantasy of the Titan class needs to be expanded to encompass more than just Skittle flavored punching, more than just punching in different colors. It's less so about the effectiveness of the class than it is about having options, being desirable in higher tier group activities, and truly having a reason to play it. Let's get to the crux of the problem mechanically, and then we will expand on the philosophy. Why would you use Titan for a damage phase when Golden Gun Hunters exist? Why would you need to use Ward of Dawn when Well of Radiance exists, where you don't need to dedicate an exotic armor piece to gain the damage buff? The defensive capabilities of Restoration versus Overshield is night and day. Restoration is almost always preferred. Short answer, there's no real reason to use Titan, plain and simple. Titan is the punching class. For starters, it was always a dumb archetype to shoot for, but to double, triple, quadruple, and then sextuple down on it for every subclass element is just insane and reeks of a severe lack of creativity or a lack of care for the class in general. Oh, and here's a real kicker. The Hunter class currently has the best melee build right now. I have no words. Truly embarrassing. The only thing more useless than a Titan is the government when it comes to doing anything other than stealing your money. The Titan class started off as a tanky space soldier. How the hell it ended up being a crayon-eating punch machine is beyond me. The Titan class needs to return to being more soldier-like and tanky for the team. Mechanically speaking, there's not a current role or mechanic for tanks in Destiny 2. Most MMORPGs have a role specifically for aggro and tanking. Destiny doesn't have that. In other games, jobs that bring no utility bring high DPS, which is Hunter. The job that brings the most utility tends to be more focused on just that, which is Warlocks. Titan has neither, and there's not a real tanking mechanic for raids and dungeons either, so the class is in limbo as just an ad clear class, which is a shame because Hunter and Warlocks are just as good, if not better, at ad clear anyway. I would venture to say that Shadow Shot and Night Stalker might be the best ad clear in the game. So, what do we do? For starters, bring back the soldier power fantasy. Weapon buffs, grenade cooldowns, and overshields all the time. Titan should be the main class everyone looks to for damage resistance, overshields, frost armor, and woven mail. Overshields need to be better in PvE. They suck absolute dick and it isn't up for debate. To balance the fact that woven mail damage reduction is so much better, void overshields from Titan sources specifically should refill automatically as long as it's not completely depleted or the timer runs out. Maybe increase the amount of damage an overshield can tank before breaking just a tad. The Protector, wall building soldier fantasy just disappeared overnight. The Ward of Dawn nerf is just absolutely baffling to me. It was a super that got no use in PvP because Well of Radiance existed. Taking away Weapons of Light and tying it to an exotic helmet has to have been the most brain dead decision ever made. It's not supported by any logic whatsoever. Nerf it in PvP? Fine. PvE? Why? A Titan's main job should be keeping teammates alive with walls, barriers, and overshield. Yes, I'm aware Void already shares overshield and Strand can share woven mail, but it needs to be better. More sources, more opportunities to proc it, and more potent damage resistances. Warlock's job is to heal. Well, make it a Titan's job to make sure the fire team doesn't need to be healed in the first place. Weapon buffs are a requirement to carry forward with the soldier power fantasy. I can already hear the comments, but Titans have Actium Warrig and Peacekeepers and shut the fuck up, dumbass. I know, I mean with the subclass itself. There needs to be some synergy between weapons and subclass because as it stands now, running Actium Warrig or Armamentarium would be nice, but missing out on core abilities from other subclass specific exotics and not having any kind of synergy from the subclass itself to support these weapon focused exotics isn't worth it because the subclass is lackluster without Synthoceps or Worm Gods because for some reason the melee focused class sucks at melee from base and needs an exotic to make it viable. Also, if Bungie is so hell-bent on making Titans melee only, why in the fuck did they nerf Synthoceps and Worm Gods for? Make up your goddamn mind. Melee as a sole playstyle just doesn't work because it's incompatible with the way Destiny is designed. You can't even melee most raid and dungeon bosses anymore, which makes 90% of the supers absolutely useless. In difficult content where you're under the light cap of the activity, just forget about melee killing champions. If you need any more proof about integrating weapons into the subclasses themselves, look no further than hazardous propulsion. Everyone loves that exotic. Why? Because you feel like a Titan using it. Heavy weapons specialist is a no-brainer for the Titan class. Bungie started that with Ruin Wings in D1, but then removed them and never brought them back. How about adding Ruin Wings as an aspect for one of the subclasses? Then poof, you have some synergy with your subclass finally. Add some weapon-specific or general weapon abilities to the subclass to incentivize using some of those weapon-based exotics. Make more of them. Give us a reason to use Actium War Rig, because Sweet Business is just not cutting it, especially after Hunters got Still Hunt and the way Warlock synergizes with Microcosm. How about making an aspect where for a brief amount of time you drastically reduce the cooldowns of your fire team's grenades? Or how about an exotic slash aspect combo that makes it so that you and your entire team's weapons reload instantly or don't need to be reloaded at all for a short amount of time? Stuff like that would be so invaluable and make the Titan class useful overnight while giving a power fantasy that we can enjoy without punching shit like some lobotomite. What do you guys think about these ideas? I don't think they will solve everything, but it will be a great start in my opinion. I have so many more ideas. If you guys have some cool ideas to share, drop them down below and they'll be added to the next video with a cool shout out. See you guys in the next video. Peace! And there's so many more coming, man. This sucks.